Alex stared at the sky above the small colony, the twin suns slowly dipping behind the rocky hills. Even at 10 years old, he had learned to notice the way the light fell across the red soil of Novera, the human settlement at the edge of the known galaxy. He loved this quiet hour, when the workers returned from the farms and the colony's machines hummed in the distance. But today, the quiet was broken by a strange sight. A flash of silver light streaked across the horizon. Alex squinted, shielding his eyes. The light landed softly on the far hill, and when he ran closer, he froze. A small figure stood there, tall and thin, but clearly not human. Its skin shimmered like the surface of a bubble, reflecting gold and green. Two bright eyes stared at him with curiosity, and Alex felt a chill of excitement. "Hello," he called Dot. The creature tilted its head. It had no mouth like a human, yet Alex somehow heard a soft voice in his mind. "Hello, human." Alex stepped closer. What are you?" "I am Lyra," the creature said. Her voice was calm, almost musical. "I come from far away." Alex's heart raced. First contact. He had read about it in the history books, but he never imagined meeting an alien so close. "I'm Alex," he said. Do you want to play?" Lyra blinked, then nodded. Though her body moved differently, there was something childlike in her gestures. Alex ran and motioned her to chase him. She moved with a grace and speed he had never seen, almost floating over the rocks. They laughed together, or at least, Alex laughed because he could sense joy from her thoughts. As the sun dipped lower, Alex collapsed on a rock out of breath. "I promise," he said, gasping. "I'll always be your friend." Lyra tilted her head. "Friend?" "Yes," Alex said, still catching his breath. "I promise. I will always stay with you. And maybe one day we can be like family." Lyra's bright eyes fixed on him. "Family? Promise?" Alex nodded seriously. "I promise." He did not fully understand why, but he felt the words meant something important. Lyra smiled, or at least her eyes seemed to brighten. "I will remember," she said. The next day, Lyra vanished. Alex searched the hills and valleys of Novera, but there was no trace. His parents warned him not to speak of it. "Children often imagine things," his father said, though his tone carried a hint of worry. "Stay away from the wilds. You don't know what's out there." Alex did not understand the warning fully. He knew she was real, and he knew the promise mattered. Years passed. Alex grew taller, older, and learned the ways of the colony. He trained as a junior diplomat, preparing for the day humanity might meet other intelligent species. He often thought of Lyra, wondering what had become of her. The memory of her shimmering skin and her bright eyes stayed with him, haunting him like a dream he could not forget. Then, one morning when Alex was 22, he heard news that made his stomach twist. A massive fleet of alien ships had appeared near the edge of human space. Reports said the ships were enormous, shaped like living crystal, with technology far beyond human comprehension. And leading them was Lyra. Now, she was no child. She had grown into a towering figure, regal and commanding. Her skin still shimmered, but now with golden streaks that ran like veins of sunlight across her form. She wore a crown of living crystal that glowed faintly with energy. She was the queen of her people. Alex's first thought was disbelief. "It can't be her," he muttered to himself. But when the council transmitted a hologram of her fleet, he recognized the way her eyes glimmered. The same intelligent, piercing gaze. The same curious brightness. The council's leader, Director Harlan, leaned forward. "Alex, she is here, and she demands you, personally. She says you owe her a promise." Alex froze. "A promise? From when?" Harlan's face was grave. "From your childhood. She remembers your words. The aliens' culture. Alex, promise like that is binding. They take it seriously. This is not a joke." Alex's mind raced. He had made a promise as a child out of innocence. without understanding the weight of it. But now, faced with the full might of an alien civilization, he realized the stakes were far higher than he had ever imagined. His childhood play had turned into a matter that could affect all of humanity. That night, Alex could not sleep. He stared at the stars, imagining Lyra among them. He remembered the laughter, the playful chase across the hills, the way she had nodded when he promised to be her friend. That small promise made in a moment of childhood innocence now held the power to command fleets and bend the course of history. The next morning, Alex was summoned to the landing site. The sky above the colony was filled with shimmering light as one of Lyra's ships descended. The air vibrated with energy, and humans nearby shielded their eyes from the brilliance. When the ship's doors opened, Lyra stepped out. She looked at Alex, and for a moment, he saw the child he once knew in her eyes. Then the eyes widened with authority, with command, and with expectation. "You promised," she said simply. The words were soft, but carried the weight of her people's law. Alex swallowed hard. I did, but I was just a child." Lyra's gaze did not waver. "A promise is a promise. You made it, and now, it must be kept." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. He had known as a child that words mattered, but he had never imagined that a simple promise could now shape the fate of worlds. He realized with sudden clarity that the universe was bigger, stranger, and far more dangerous than he had ever imagined. And yet, deep in his heart, he remembered the laughter, the trust, and the connection. Somewhere beneath the crown, the power, and the alien majesty, Lyra had once been a child who believed in him. That thought gave Alex the courage to speak. I will try," he said. His voice was steady now. "I will honor my promise. But we must find a way that is fair to both of us." Lyra's eyes glimmered, unreadable. "We will see, human. We will see." The sun set behind the hills of Novera, casting long shadows over the colony. Alex stood alone, watching her ship glow in the twilight. He did not yet know how he would keep the promise or what trials awaited him. But one thing was certain. His life and the fate of humanity had changed forever. And somewhere deep in the stars, a childhood bond waited to be tested. Alex had never felt so small. The alien fleet hovered above Earth like a glittering storm. Thousands of ships, each shining like a crystal mountain, blocked the horizon. Humans scrambled below, their technology dwarfed by the alien power. Yet in the center, towering above all, was Lyra's flagship. Shimmering, elegant, and undeniably commanding. The world watched as the Queen's presence was broadcast across every channel. Leaders, scientists, and civilians alike could see her. She was magnificent, tall, regal, her golden-streaked skin glowing in the light of Earth's sun. Even from orbit, her eyes seemed to pierce straight into Alex's mind. Alex stood in the council chamber, trembling slightly, though he tried to mask it. Director Harlan paced in front of the giant screen, the tension in his body matching the fear in the room. "Alex," he said, "she demands you, not Earth, not its leaders. You." Alex swallowed. "Me?" His voice sounded small in the echoing chamber. "But why me? I'm just a human." Harlan shook his head. "Not just a human, Alex. You made a promise. And in her culture, a promise is sacred. If you refuse, it could start a war we are not ready for. She respects humans who honor their word, but she also tests those who falter." Alex's mind raced back to that distant day in the hills of Novera, when he had promised a child he would stay with her. He had not understood then. How could a child's words now command a fleet of alien ships? Yet here he was, staring at the impossible, knowing he could not ignore it. A holographic alert flashed. Lyra's voice echoed through the chamber, calm and musical. "Alex, you are mine to speak with. Come to the surface. We will see if your words mean anything." You made a promise. You will honor it. Alex felt the floor shift under him. He looked at the council members, their faces pale. What if I refuse? He asked quietly. Harlan's voice was firm. You can't. Refusal will bring consequences. For you, and for humanity. We must trust you can navigate this. Within hours, Alex was escorted to a special landing platform outside the capital city. The sky was filled with the sparkling ships. As he approached, the flagship's doors opened with a soft hum. A beam of light extended downward and Alex stepped into it. He felt his body lift gently, as if carried by the air itself. Inside the ship, the walls glowed with shifting colors. The light reflected off the crystalline surfaces, creating patterns that seemed alive. Alex felt disoriented, but awe replaced fear. This was no ordinary vessel. It was as if the ship itself was conscious, aware of his presence. And then he saw her. Lyra stood at the center of the great hall, her figure elegant and commanding. Her golden-streaked skin shimmered like sunlight on water. Her crown of crystal glowed faintly, but it was her eyes that captivated Alex. The same bright, curious eyes he had known as a child, now filled with authority and power. You came, she said. Her voice was calm, yet it carried the weight of command. You remembered your promise. Alex bowed slightly, unsure of what else to do. I remember, and I want to understand. Please, Queen Lyra, what do you expect of me? Lyra stepped closer, her movements graceful, almost floating. You promised, human. A promise is not a simple word in my world. It is binding. You said you would stay with me, as a friend, as family. Now, you must prove your words are true. Alex's stomach twisted. I don't understand. I am human. Alex walked through the shimmering corridors of Lyra's flagship, feeling the strange hum of alien energy all around him. The walls pulsed with a soft light, changing color as if responding to his thoughts. Every step reminded him of how small humans were in the vast galaxy, but also of the promise he had made long ago, and the responsibility it now carried. Lyra led him into a great hall filled with holographic projections. Entire worlds floated in midair, spinning slowly, each representing a different alien civilization under her reign. Alex's eyes widened. The sheer scale of her empire was almost impossible to comprehend. You will face your first true test here, Lyra said, her voice calm and commanding. Not as a child, not as a human diplomat, but as a representative of your species. You will need to prove that humans are more than what others expect. Alex took a deep breath. I understand. I will try my best. Lyra inclined her head. Good. Observe. A simulation activated, showing a world divided. Two alien factions were on the brink of war over resources that neither truly needed. Alex watched as leaders argued, soldiers marched, and civilians panicked. The scene felt real, almost too real. Lyra's projection shifted the perspective, and Alex could hear the thoughts of those involved, their fears, anger, and confusion. Alex realized this was not about fighting. It was about understanding. He focused on the problem, thinking of ways humans might solve such conflicts. Slowly, he began speaking, suggesting compromises, trade, and mediation strategies. He proposed shared resources, joint councils, and mutual agreements, all ideas rooted in principles of fairness and empathy. Lyra watched silently. At first, the projections of alien leaders scowled, refusing to listen. But as Alex continued, the simulated factions began to respond. Slowly, the holographic world shifted from chaos to dialogue. Peace was not immediate, but it was possible. You see, Lyra said, her voice soft but firm. Humans think differently. You do not rely only on strength or technology. You use creativity, emotion, and reason together. That is why I chose you. Alex swallowed. I never thought of myself as special, just human. Lyra smiled faintly. That is precisely why your people are remarkable. You see problems in ways my species sometimes cannot. You are adaptable and your courage is subtle, but strong. Next, Lyra presented another test. Alex found himself facing a puzzle unlike anything he had ever seen. Shapes, symbols, and lights shifted in patterns that seemed random. His task was to predict the sequence and find a path that would unlock the next projection dot. At first, he was frustrated. Nothing about this puzzle followed logic he knew. Then, he remembered how humans learn to solve problems when faced with the impossible. He tried thinking outside the rules, noticing patterns not in the shapes themselves, but in the way the light moved and reflected. Slowly, he began to understand. Step by step, he solved the puzzle, unlocking a new holographic scenario. Lyra's eyes glimmered. You adapt. You learn. Your species' greatest strength is not in physical power, but in the mind and heart. Hours passed. Each challenge became more complex. Alex faced scenarios of moral dilemmas, life and death decisions, and negotiation between species that thought differently from humans. He failed at times, hesitated at others, but each failure taught him something new. Lyra never scolded him. She observed, always calm, guiding only when necessary. By the end of the day, Alex felt exhausted but exhilarated. He realized that the tests were not about obedience. They were about humanity itself. The alien empire could dominate planets with technology, but humans could understand, adapt, and make choices that preserved life and respect. Lyra spoke, her voice echoing softly in the hall. You have done well, Alex. You are not just a human. You are a symbol of your people. You have shown me the value of humans. But the path ahead will be even more difficult. Your promise is not just words. It is a test of endurance, wisdom, and heart. Alex nodded. I understand. And I want to succeed. Not just for me, but for all humans. Lyra inclined her head. Good. But know this. Success will require sacrifices. You will face choices where there is no clear right answer. You will need to act with courage even when afraid. And sometimes, you will need to act for the greater good, even if it conflicts with your desires. Alex felt a chill at her words. He thought of the promise he had made so long ago. A childhood promise had grown into a challenge that could affect entire civilizations. The weight of it pressed down on him, but he also felt determination. He would not fail. Later, as Alex rested in quarters aboard the flagship, he reflected on the day's lessons. Humans were small in the galaxy, yes, but small did not mean weak. They could think, adapt, and endure. They could form bonds, understand emotions, and make decisions based on morality, not just survival. These were the strengths that had allowed humans to survive countless challenges on distant planets. Lyra entered quietly. You are learning, Alex. But remember, the galaxy does not wait. Others are watching. Some admire, some doubt. Your actions will be judged by more than just me. Alex looked at her. I understand. I will do my best. I will keep my promise. Lyra's eyes softened briefly, almost like the child he had known long ago. I know. That is why I chose you. Not because you are strongest, not because you are fastest, but because you are human. Alex felt a warmth inside him. He realized the truth. Humans had survived not by conquering, but by thinking, feeling, and striving for understanding. That was their power, their uniqueness. And in this moment he vowed silently to uphold that power. For himself, for Lyra, and for all of humanity. As he looked out the window at Earth far below, Alex knew the journey had only begun. The tests, the challenges, and the promises were just the first steps. Ahead lay trials that would demand all of his courage and ingenuity. But he also knew one thing. Humans, small and fragile as they seemed, could shine in ways no alien technology could match. And somehow, Alex knew that promise, the one made in the hills of Novara so many years ago, would guide him through the trials yet to come. Alex stepped off the hovering platform and onto the surface of Lyra's world. The air shimmered with a strange golden light, and the ground beneath his feet glowed faintly, as if alive. Towering structures of crystal stretched high into the sky, reflecting the light in countless colors. The alien world was beautiful and intimidating at the same time. Lyra floated beside him, her presence calm and commanding. "Welcome, Alex. This is my world. Here, promises are tested, not by words, but by action. You will learn what it truly means to keep a vow." Alex looked around nervously. I understand. But how do I begin?" Lyra smiled faintly. "By walking, by observing, by thinking, and by acting." They moved through the city past beings that shimmered like living light. Some watched Alex curiously, others ignored him entirely. Despite their strange forms, there was a sense of order, of intelligence, of purpose in everything around him. Alex realized that Lyra's people valued discipline, honor, and tradition above all else. "Your first trial begins now," Lyra said. "You will navigate our ceremonial grounds and face challenges designed to test your understanding of oaths and loyalty. Your goal is simple: prove that humans can honor a promise even in unfamiliar circumstances." Alex nodded, trying to steady his racing heart. The first challenge appeared suddenly. A crystal archway glowed before him, projecting a vision of a distant colony in chaos. The simulation showed alien citizens arguing, some injured, others fearful. A voice echoing in his mind said, "The colony needs guidance. Lead them without causing harm. Honor your word." Alex hesitated. He had no experience leading alien civilizations. But then he remembered the lessons from Earth: empathy, communication, and compromise. He spoke to the projection, offering advice, calming disputes, and encouraging cooperation. Slowly, the chaos settled. The holographic citizens smiled, nodded, and worked together peacefully. Lyra watched silently. "Humans are curious. You do not demand obedience, you seek understanding. That is a rare quality." The second challenge was more personal. Alex entered a chamber filled with countless glowing mirrors, each reflecting different versions of himself. In some, he appeared confident and powerful. In others, he looked small, scared, or unsure. Lyra's voice echoed around him. "Choose which self you will be. Your promise depends on who you truly are." Alex looked at the reflections. He felt fear, doubt, and uncertainty, but he also felt determination. The promise he made long ago was not about power, or status, or glory. It was about trust, about integrity, about being true to his word, no matter the circumstances. He touched the reflection that showed him standing strong, not because he was fearless, but because he chose to act with courage. The mirrors shimmered and dissolved. Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest. He realized that this trial was not about defeating illusions. It was about accepting himself. Lyra led him to the final trial. A vast hall stretched before him, filled with alien leaders and advisors. They spoke in their strange language, their words incomprehensible. But Alex could sense their thoughts: doubt, curiosity, and expectation. "You must negotiate," Lyra said. "Your promise will be tested. Will you honor it even when your people's safety is at stake? Will you act wisely and fairly?" Alex nodded. The challenge was clear. He was to represent humans and demonstrate their ability to think, reason, and respect. Alex stood in the great council hall of Lyra's flagship, the vast chamber filled with alien leaders from countless worlds. Crystalline spires rose to the ceiling, casting light across the faces of beings that shimmered like living jewels. Their eyes were focused on him, measuring, questioning, judging. Lyra floated beside him, regal as ever, her golden-streaked skin glowing softly. "This is the final stage," she said. "Your people's future, and the promise you made will be tested. Here, convince them that humans are worthy of respect." Alex took a deep breath. He remembered the trials on her world, the simulations, the moral challenges, the mirrors of self-reflection. Every lesson he had learned now mattered. Every choice he had made, every act of courage, empathy, and intelligence had prepared him for this moment. A stern-looking alien with multiple eyes leaned forward. Its voice was musical, yet commanding. "Human, why should we trust you? Your species is small, weak, and barely capable of interstellar travel. You are untested in matters of consequence." Alex met the creature's gaze steadily. "We may be small," he said, "but we think. We learn. We care for life. We can make choices that are right, even when it is difficult. That is our strength." Murmurs echoed through the chamber. Some aliens seemed intrigued, others skeptical. Alex pressed on. "I have faced your trials. I have acted with honesty, courage, and empathy. I have made mistakes and learned from them. That is what humans do. We grow, we adapt, and we honor our word." Another alien, taller than the rest and covered in shimmering armor-like scales, spoke. "Words are easy. Action is harder. Can your people act with integrity under pressure? Can they face impossible odds and still choose the right path?" Alex nodded. "Yes, we do not always succeed, but we try. We face fear and uncertainty and act for the greater good. That is how humanity survives. That is how we grow stronger, not by dominating others, but by using our minds, hearts, and courage." Lyra's eyes glimmered with approval. She raised her hand and a projection appeared in the center of the hall. It showed humans on distant colonies, facing natural disasters, alien wildlife, and internal conflict. Alex explained how humans had solved problems creatively, how they had worked together to survive, and how they had built communities based on trust and cooperation. The council watched silently, and then, slowly, something changed. The murmurs of doubt were replaced by curiosity, then by admiration. The alien leaders began to ask questions, not to test Alex, but to understand humans. "How do you survive with so little technology compared to us?" one asked. Alex smiled. "We survive because we value life, cooperation, and learning. Technology is only a tool. The true power is in our hearts and minds." Another leader tilted its head. "And your promise, this binding vow, how do you ensure it is kept?" Alex thought of Lyra, the childhood promise, the trials he had endured. A promise is more than words. It is action, responsibility, and integrity. "I will honor my promise because it is the right thing to do, not because I am forced." That is what humans understand. Trust and honor are worth more than fear or force. Lyra's voice echoed through the hall. "You see, Council, humans are unlike any species we have studied. They rise to challenges in ways we did not anticipate. They act with courage, creativity, and morality. That is why I brought Alex here." The council continued their questions, but Alex answered with calm confidence. He did not try to impress with bravado or show of strength. Instead, he spoke from experience, from thought, and from the lessons humans had learned on Earth and beyond. Hours passed. The council debated quietly among themselves, their voices a hum of curiosity and astonishment. Finally, one of the elder aliens, draped in robes of glowing crystal, stood. "We have judged this human and his people. Though they are small, they have wisdom, courage, and honor. They can be trusted not blindly but with respect. This is rare." A ripple of approval passed through the chamber. Lyra floated forward, her expression serene. "You have done well, Alex. Not only have you honored your promise, but you have shown the galaxy that humans are capable of greatness. That is why we respect you and your species." Alex felt a mixture of relief and pride. He knew that this moment was not just about him, it was about humanity. The small, fragile species that had struggled to survive on distant colonies had now earned the respect of a powerful alien empire. Lyra extended her hand toward him. Walk with me, human. Today, humanity's place in the galaxy is secure, not through force but through courage, intelligence, and heart. You have demonstrated that your species shines in ways that cannot be measured by size or strength. Alex took her hand, feeling the warmth of trust and approval. Thank you, Queen Lyra. I will continue to honor my promise. I will continue to show that humanity is worthy. She smiled faintly. And you will. But remember, Alex, this is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast. Other challenges await. But you have proven that humans are not to be underestimated. That is the essence of your promise. Alex looked around the hall at the alien leaders. Some were nodding, some were still skeptical, but all had begun to see the truth. Humans were unique, valuable, and capable of great things. They had earned respect, not by conquering or threatening, but by being themselves, creative, moral, and courageous. Later, comma. As Alex and Lyra floated above the glowing city, he realized how far he had come. From a childhood promise whispered on the hills of Novera to standing before an interstellar council, he had grown, learned, and proved that humanity had strength beyond physical power. Lyra's voice softened. You understand now, Alex. Your promise is honored. Your people are respected, and your journey, our journey, continues. The galaxy watches. Humans will shine, not because they seek glory, but because they act rightly, with courage and wisdom. Alex felt hope fill his heart. Humanity had faced impossible odds before and survived. Now, under the watchful eyes of Lyra and her empire, humans would continue to grow, learn, and shine across the stars. And he knew, without a doubt, that the promise he had made as a child, the promise to Lyra, was more than a bond. It was a bridge between species, a testament to trust and proof that humans, small though they were, could rise to meet any challenge with heart, mind, and honor. The stars above Lyra's world sparkled like diamonds, endless and bright. Humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer uncertain. Through courage, ingenuity, and integrity, they had earned the respect of a powerful empire, and Alex had proven that a simple promise could change the course of history. Word count, approximately 950 words. The Great Hall of the Interstellar Council was filled with light and quiet anticipation. Leaders from countless civilizations, each unique and extraordinary, had gathered to witness the conclusion of the trials and the fulfillment of the promise Alex had made so long ago. Holograms of planets and star systems floated above them, showing the reach and power of Lyra's empire. And at the center of it all, Alex stood beside her, human, small, but steadfast. Lyra, the alien queen, floated gracefully before the assembly. Her golden-streaked skin shimmered like sunlight on water, and her crystal crown glowed softly. Today, we honor not only a promise but the values it represents: trust, courage, and integrity. Alex of Earth has proven that humans can rise to meet any challenge and act with honor, even when the odds are impossible. Alex felt the weight of the moment. His childhood promise had grown into a test that involved entire civilizations. Every step of the way he had faced fear, doubt, and uncertainty. But he had also discovered humanity's unique strengths. Now he needed to finalize the promise in a way that respected both Lyra and the future of his people. He took a deep breath. Honorable leaders, I stand here not as a conqueror, but as a representative of humanity. I made a promise long ago, and I intend to honor it. But this promise is not only about one individual. It is about trust, cooperation, and the bonds that can unite different worlds. We seek friendship, not domination, respect, not subjugation. A murmur of interest spread across the assembly. Alex continued, describing the journey he had taken, from the hills of Novera, through Lyra's trials, and across her world. He explained how humans acted with integrity, creativity, and courage, even in situations far beyond their understanding. He told them that humanity valued life, fairness, and loyalty above power. One elder alien, covered in robes of living crystal, leaned forward. You speak well, human, But how do we know that your species can uphold such values across time and space? A promise is only as strong as those who keep it, Alex nodded. We learn from our mistakes. We grow stronger through challenges. The promise I made as a child was sincere, and I have acted on it to the best of my ability. That is the way. Humans prove themselves not through force but through action, thought, and heart. Lyra's eyes gleamed with approval. She spoke softly, but every word carried authority. Alex has shown that humans are not only capable of keeping promises but of inspiring respect across the galaxy. Their values, though expressed differently, align with what our civilizations need: courage, wisdom, and trust. Alex stepped forward and faced the council directly. I propose a symbolic fulfillment of the promise. It will honor the bond between Lyra and myself, while also respecting the sovereignty and independence of humanity. I offer to serve as an ambassador, representing Earth to your empire, building bridges and ensuring Serration, peace, and